Rocket League is fundamentally changing how boost works in the game. Here, there was a video that they came out with, or some kind of trailer that they released, where they showed, a very, very faint indication, slowly growing indication that the boost is about to respawn. So yeah, that's caused a bit of controversy within the community. Now, Rocket League has also introduced another feature like this, where they fundamentally changed the game, where you could see your teammates' boost in their nameplates, which ultimately people haven't been too negative towards, although there were some veterans and pros that didn't like it too much. But overall, people didn't really care that much in the end. This time around, though, it might be slightly different. We'll have to wait and see. Here we have Coconut. I'll kind of first look at, the opinions of some people, and then kind of summarize the positives and the negatives at the end and see what I kind of think about it. But Coconut, an SSL and content creator for Rocket League, says that it kind of feels like the boost nameplate indicator, where high-level players feel like it's not necessary, but everyone will get used to it in time. Which, to be fair, that is what happened with the boost indicator. There were some doubts, not too big though, and I feel like the doubts are bigger this time. And now we have here Cookser saying no. Cookser does not like this. Cookser, a world champion, of course, although he's no longer a pro nowadays. And it's important to note that he's not biased towards, change in the game overall, because he does say teammate boost is fine. He thinks that feature was fine, seeing your teammates boost. But says here, people don't realize how many times even pros miss respawn timing. So he's definitely saying that the skill should, go down. Coconut didn't really give an opinion much on that, but I do have a contradicting tweet here by Verge, a coach who won Season 9 EU. Probably the first popular coach where he wasn't only respected by players, but also by the fans. And he says, if this is how it looks, I don't really see this affecting high level at all. Players already know the timing of boost spawns by feel. Adding a faint indication that it's about to spawn won't affect the value that tracking boost timers has as a skill. Which I guess slightly confuses me, because he says, players already know the timings. But that also says that it doesn't affect the value that tracking boost timers has as a skill, which partially is true, because I guess if you're confident that a boost is about to respawn, you start going there, and then you kind of see with your eyes, oh, I can literally tell it's about to respawn in about 1 second. So there's definitely, partially you're going to have some decision making where you can't tell yet, and you just kind of have to guess that it's going to be there. You end up looking there, getting a bit closer. Now you can see if it's really spawning, you could say, but surely it does affect it a bit, right? Surely it does affect it a bit. You could just be, chilling somewhere, not knowing that a boost is about to respawn, and oh no, it's actually, you can see that it's spawning in 1 second. So I guess I find his own statement a bit contradicting, but he doesn't just contradict himself, he also contradicts Cooksy here. He's saying, players already know the timing of boost by feel. So it sounds like he's saying they know them very well, but Cooksy is saying, yeah, people don't realize how many times pros don't know them. So, not sure what to make of that. I'm not a pro myself. I'm not SSL, right? But yeah, that's definitely interesting. And yeah, let's look at it. So some negatives here. I guess you could say nobody asked for it, right? They're taking a risk, because when you introduce a feature that nobody was even asking for, you can definitely receive some backlash. Not that you can't receive backlash by giving people what they asked for, but there's some added risk factor, I guess you could say, right? To counter that, though, you could also say people don't know what they want. This is also often true, where something comes out from somewhere and people didn't realize they would love it until they interacted with it. And so that is definitely true as well. So I guess you can kind of negate, the argument, if you will, because it could be something that people didn't know they wanted, but it could be something bad. So either or, right? Then boost knowledge is left, partially awarded or unawarded, as I put it here, aka less skill required to get to a certain level, or rather less skill required to obtain the amount of boost that you do. Whether, and this is a kind of a contentious point of to what extent is this true, right? So if it's only a little, then, you know, not too big of a deal. But if it's actually quite a lot that it influences the skill, then, you know, it's a little bit of a shame. And then here's the contentious point of should that change pro gameplay that much? You know, is it just a case of players that are, you know, nowhere near pro where it's helping them out, but for pro players, it's not, it doesn't really change anything. Not that that doesn't matter though. Of course, that means pros achieve the skill that, you know, would have been not as important if they came up now. So maybe this is something that will affect, you know, just the lower ranks a lot more than the higher ranks. That's a question. People don't like change equals angry veterans. Obviously, most people don't like change that much. So if you've been playing the game for a long time, you're just not going to like fundamental changes to the game like that. Unless they were, you know, super problematic, obviously. And then for some positives, there are moments where you essentially can't know when it's respawning, so the gameplay should look slightly better. So yeah, that basically means that pros should, you know, if there is 1 second for that boost to spawn, that they'll just wait and then they'll just be on full boost, as opposed to having to take that 20 pad, right? That 12 pad rather, and rely on that. So gameplay should look better even at all levels. Another question here is to what extent exactly? And mainly we're going to be looking at the lower ranks where it should influence it quite a bit, which gets onto the point of helps newer players with boost decisions and basically should avoid them sitting on the corner boost as much as they do. In other words, a better new player experience. So we're kind of looking at, as a negative, a worse veteran experience, but a better new player experience, which, to be fair, if you're going to take that risk, now is probably a good time with, you know, the sudden surge of players at the moment. We've got a lot of new players playing Rocket League, so if you're going to take a risk, you know, this could be a good time to do it, you could say. And obviously, you're always going to rely on veterans playing the game regardless of them not liking a change, because they have been playing the game anyways. So it isn't, you know, going against some of your veterans, from a business standpoint at least, it isn't actually that risky. Problem is though, long term, that if it's a really bad change, it's obviously can really badly affect the game. But something like this, I doubt it's going to be super dramatic. It's one of those, for me, for example, like, I don't even know what to make of this. Like, I'm super on the fence on this whole debate. So if you're looking for my opinion, I don't even know. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even know if I like it or not, because there's definitely moments where, you know, you don't really know when a boost is about to spawn, and there wasn't really a way of knowing it because, you know, an opponent took it and nobody could really see that opponent or something like that. And in comms, you can't be talking about every single boost all the time. You can't clog up the comms to a point where you can't focus on what you're actually doing, right? So, you know, there are times where you just can't know, and it will help you out in those situations. In a way, you could say it removes a slight effect of RNG in the game, so that's always good. But it's definitely true that we are also taking away slightly the idea of, you know, knowing when the boost is about to respawn. And this is probably more true in stuff like 1v1 and 2v2 as opposed to 3v3, where in 3v3, that's when it gets a lot harder to know when boosts are respawning. You can argue that that actually makes it more skillful, but at the same time, there's a lot of situations where in 3v3 you just essentially can't know, right? So, you know, I don't know. But I guess for my summary, it's, I don't even know what to make of this. I don't hate it, I don't love it, so I don't even know, to be honest. In other news though, apparently, a bit of a segue, the esport was doing really well here with the major. Apparently getting a peak viewership here of 620k, sorry. Of course, this is including watch parties, to my knowledge. But yeah, that's cool. The esport doing well. Peak viewership for RLCS, so that's cool. You know, a little side note there. But anyways, I got nothing else to say on the topic, so I guess thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Your opinion's super important, and that could be something maybe that could influence my take on this as well. So do let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you later.